Megan, welcome back to the podcast.
I am so happy to be back. Hold on, I got a little button I gotta click. I am so happy to be here. Whew,
You,
yes.
okay, I said it on today on stories. You were our number one listened to podcast last year. It
I saw that, and I'm gonna tell you something. I'm also was probably delusionally, deranged because it was the holiday season. You work those long hours, and I saw that, and I shed a tear. I was like, "Oh my God, Mom!" I had to call my mom first. I was like, "Mom."
you were talking. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of blew me away because you were like towards the like three-quarters of the way of the year into it,
Yeah.
maybe later. And to gain that many listens with that short of a window of time, that was, I was like, wow. Like I went back, I'm like, is that right? Because not that it wasn't great, it was just that's a short amount of time to have such a big
Well, if
list.
you listened out there in the world, thank you so much. You made this Southern girl a little happy that day.
I mean, I loved our conversation, so I was so happy to jump back on with you. I was living vicariously watching you do Atlanta because I was there 2 months before that, I think, setting
Yeah.
up Wall Kitchen, and then to watch you go through and thank you for stopping in the
And you
showroom.
got my picture. I sent you a picture.
Thank you, but it was so because I Atlanta is one of my favorite markets to do, and it's because it is so big and
Mhm.
because temps is so good that I think most small brands when they first launch will launch in temps there. So you have this amazing temps that you don't get to see. And our temps in Vegas are good, but they're nowhere near as broad as Atlanta is. So to watch you do the show, I was like living vicariously, like, oh, how was okay, before I go there, because I've already skipped into our conversations, please reintroduce yourself to our listeners.
So I am Meghan Wagner, and I am the owner of the Go Girl Shop in Mebane, North Carolina. We are in the center of the state between you got like the mountains, the coast on one side, but we're between like Greensboro and the Raleigh Durham area. So yeah.
And as we talked before, you were our number one listened to, and you have this amazing store. So tell everyone a little bit about your store. For those who haven't listened, bring everyone up to speed with that.
Yeah, so we are a home decor and gift shop. It's always changing up. We have a great, what I call provision section, a little kid section that somehow finds itself growing continuously. Great gifts, home decor, and of course during the seasons like holidays, it's just a whole different ball game. But it's always changing. We are about to, Valentine's Day is this weekend. So we got our Valentine's table, we have Easter coming up, spring, all the things. So it's just I hope when people walk in here, it's a place where they feel happy, they feel welcomed, and they want to linger and stay. So
You are like the epitome of Southern hospitality. Like
yes.
I love
Depends
listening.
on who you ask.
I mean, when we talked before, you were heading into the holidays, and you had talked about as a customer what it's like to walk in your store, and the fact that your whole entire family works with you, and
Yes.
dad's the bartender, and
Yes.
mom's there, and the sampling that goes on. It's like it truly, and just how you treat every customer. It was like it was the epitome of Southern hospitality to me.
Well,
And
they're
I
family. Our customers are our family. They're the ones, at the end of the day that when they walk through their door or our doors, they are supporting our business, our dream, our livelihood. And we want them to know how special and how welcome they are coming in our door. Because this is my quote, in a world where they can be anywhere, they can go online and buy and they can go anywhere. They took the time to choose us and walk through our doors.
I wish every retailer would take that philosophy. I mean, we talked about it, like there's been stores I've walked into, and I mean, there's like 10 people on the floor, and the person's behind the round and behind the counter, like, welcome. Like,
I think our problem is that we're so Southern, we talk too much and they forget why they're in there. But at the same time, I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to enjoy their time. And it's okay if they don't buy something that day. I mean, of course, I would love to help them find something, but maybe they have a story that they're just having a bad day. or something's going on in their life and they just need an escape. They call it retail therapy, and we really are an escape for some people. And like I said, sometimes they don't buy something that day, and it's okay. But I hope that they come back and they're browsing and they see something maybe for the future.
Again, like I walked away from our conversation last time with just like such appreciation for how you treat, because in my world back in the day, Fred Siegel, my customers were my family. And this is
Yeah.
before cell phone, which is so crazy to sound like this is before cell phones, but this is before cell phones. And this is, honestly, like we all had client books and you whipped them out and you called people when new stuff
I
came
still
in.
do.
And I still swear by a customer book, and
I do.
handwritten thank you cards is still what I believe is truly like what is the difference between going to an Amazon or to wherever. And I truly think that the way you guys treat your customers and the way I believed treating customers is like so important. And what I think is what makes somebody's store so special. Not just the pieces inside of it, but certainly how they're treated. I think
It's
in a
the little details that let them know that you care. And just going a little bit beyond. And like I said, you never know what someone's going through. So, just one little thing that's just an everyday thing that you might just do might really be the tip of the iceberg that just turns their day completely around.
Have you ever had a customer like where it's something like that you didn't know how their day was and just what love you guys pour on them and have them just like lose it?
Yeah, I've had a few people come in and cry.
Oh,
And I don't get into details because I don't really, plus sometimes I don't know the best way to handle things, and then it makes me feel, and then I start crying. And so what do I do? I always have a little bin, a little box in the back of somebody who might have given me a sample, or like something that came with my package or something. And I end up just going in the back and giving them a free candle or something. It just might be something that, like you said, you don't know what's going, like for instance, one woman, she has a teenage child, and I think those teenage years can be hard, and I think her teenager was being not the nicest to her, and she just was having a hard parenting moment. And I'm not there yet, but I'm sure I was not the nicest to my parents at one time. And you go through things, and even though I can't relate to maybe that moment, I can relate to being sympathetic and having empathy. And she just needed to get out and escape for a moment. And like I said, in that instance, she just needed to walk around, and we just kind of got to talking just a little bit, not in depth. And I went in the back and I got her a candle and I gave it to her and I said, just go home, take a bath, burn that candle. And I hope you enjoy it. And, even though at the end of the day, it was a candle that we sold, it made her happy, but she eventually did come back and she liked the way that candle burned and she came back. But for me, it really wasn't about, getting something out of it. It was just, taking care of, somebody in our community, our neighbor.
I love the compassion and the empathy. I
Yeah,
think they're two words that are
yeah,
very much missing right now in the world.
exactly. Right.
So I love that.
Yeah.
We were offline for a second, for like literally 1 second. I'm like, oh, I have to record this. Like a very large portion of our country is going through insane weather. And my mom, who's in South Carolina, experienced it as well. Susan got snow in Savannah. And, I, while you see all these stores closing online, it doesn't really dawn on you. Michael from Cursive did a video blog on it, and it was when you all have to close for what weather, you have to close, and you're coming off of January, which tends to be one of the slowest months, and then throw this into the mix. Like, how are you? How are you holding up, and how's the weather? And now you told me the weather, and I'm mind blown. But tell me, give everyone up to speed a little bit on like what
So
this part of the country's going through.
Yeah, so first of all, we're in North Carolina. And if you haven't been in North Carolina, we're not like the northern states. We're not like the states out west either. When we hear snow, we get more ice than snow, and we don't have the equipment
Yeah.
like the other states have. So, when it's they're calling for the weather. We're all panicking. We're the ones that go for the bread. And I know all the northern states, they yeehaw and laugh at us, but it's serious. We don't have the machinery that can clear the roads, and this storm, they were calling for us to get a lot of the ice that Nashville, Tennessee got. And I lived through that when I was in high school. My parents moved us out to the country, and it was all fun and games until you were without power for 2 weeks. So that storm we knew was coming, and we all panicked. I also got a little bit more anxiety because I have my store and I have my warehouse. So you have to make sure, if the pipes freeze, you got to leave the water dripping. I didn't know what I was going to come back to. But we are lucky, and my heart goes out to the people in like Mississippi and Tennessee that got all that. We did not lose power. We did get a lot of ice. And then so we were forced to close, and then 2 days later we got snow again. It's just this going back and forth
So,
and last Saturday and Sunday was my first weekend open.
oh my God. It's, like, so what, so people understand, because I'm now in an area, I went from Southern California to Oregon, and they said, last year it snows, but it never sticks. And we got snowed in, which I was loving, but I was at home and we didn't, the option of losing power, to be honest, I don't even know that that was possible, but it didn't happen. But explain to people like not what ice is like, excuse my dogs, what ice is like, because I know that it snows and it will melt down and it's sunny, but it's still freezing. So all that snow that turns to water is like, somebody had said it's like, how thick? Like,
It was really thick for us, but the problem was the temperature never rose. So it was just continuously cold. So it was just continuously frozen. And so people were stuck in their houses. I mean, and if we're in North Carolina, it's very agriculture. So a lot of these people, whether you live in like what I quote unquote the city, like people might come and scrape the roads, but if you're kind of in like the wooded area, or hilly or anything like that, you can't get up your hill or you can't get out because it's all ice. And that's different than snow. Snow, you can hold on one second. I see my phone is about, or my computer about to die. Let me go charge it up. Different scenery. I can multitask. I'm a business owner. But with snow, you can drive around and still get out. Ice, just a completely different story.
yeah, I know my mom's in South Carolina. You guys are very different parts, but for her to she's like an hour from Charleston, where
Yeah.
there's water and it's like the ocean, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But
Yes. Charleston has the beach.
I worry about her or anybody stepping outside, and like, even if she has power, of like stepping onto ice, because it's not, I mean, it's like an ice skating rink, and you think
And a lot
about
of people here don't have four-wheel drive. We don't have the studs on our tires. Like I know my friends in
they
Oregon.
don't use salt, do they? Like
They salted the roads, but if you don't live off of main road and you just live in a neighborhood, they weren't salting the roads. They tried brining. Everybody was panic buying, so the stores ran out of salt.
was it you that showed the supermarkets that were like
It wasn't me, but that was literally like us. I mean, there was no breads or anything, and
COVID
um,
times? Nothing, like
yeah,
nothing.
there was nothing. And at the end of the day, if you're stuck in your house, you're just trying to survive, stay warm, and not wreck your car, which means you're not getting out. You're not supporting these small businesses, these restaurants. Amazon can't even save you, and I hate to use that, but like they're not delivering down these roads.
Yeah.
So like people wanted to get out, but they just couldn't get out. I mean, some of them were stuck in their houses for a week.
So scary, and it's so sad, like all the businesses, like is there any, and we'll move on after this conversation because I'm sure everyone's like, all right, it's weather.
Yeah.
Do you have any capability of recouping that from insurance, or no?
No, now I do have a certain type of insurance where like if I was to be closed down or if I had damage, but I don't really want to file that unless I absolutely have to, because then it makes your premium go up.
Yeah.
So, but after 3 days, we came into the shop because I'm gonna be open. And it wasn't just, I have to remember, it wasn't just me. It was a lot of the restaurants and businesses down here. We had maybe one or two people, but it just got down to the point where at the same time, we want people to be safe. And I didn't want to sound insensitive, be like, come out and shop when people were literally stuck in their houses, and I don't want anybody to risk their life
Yeah.
over, some kind of merchandise. Like it's not worth it for me. Or
Uh, you said the weather today is 65 degrees.
it's warm out. My doors were wide open. People were out. They were excited. I mean, I'm wearing pink. It's happy. Other people are wearing t-shirts. They're out. They're walking their dogs. They wanted to come out. Tomorrow's supposed to be the same way. And then Friday, here we are. They're calling for snow again.
It's great. We also had we got home last Friday and or Sunday, and we came home to like 60s and almost 70s weather. It was so bizarre. I'm like,
Is
what is happening? And now it's back to cold and rainy again,
Yeah,
which
seasonal depression. People are really, really feeling it. So,
so now we are headed into Valentine's weekend. What are you doing? Because you always do this big things for holidays. So what does
yeah.
Valentine's look like for you? And like, what is this weekend going to look like in the store that
Yeah.
hopefully
So kind of going back to when we were being closed real quick, when we were open and we knew there was nobody in there, we started doing live sales during lunchtime, because we knew people were stuck in their houses. We normally do a live sale on Tuesday at night around 7 o'clock. But like I said, at night it ices again, and I didn't want to be out at night. So we decided on a whim to do Facebook Lives during lunchtime at like 12 o'clock, and we would show a lot of Valentine's gifts and stuff like that because we know Valentine's is this weekend and a lot of our stuff will already have been picked over. And plus, we want to make sure people get it. So we were doing that during the snow. But this Friday, our downtown has what we call the Cupid Shuffle. I think this is our third or fourth time. It's a Galentine's Day event. Of course, we're never going to turn away the fellas because we love them too. But it's where you grab your gal pal, you come out. It's all of downtown. It's from 5 to 8. There's shop specials. There's cocktails. I have two local pop-up vendors coming that we had their stuff during the holidays. And of course, during the holidays, they can't come out. They're so busy, with their stuff. One girl is the special cheddar wafer biscuit. That's like her spin on cheddar cheese straw. Hands down, could not keep them in. They are
I've
amazing.
never seen you do that on stories during the holidays, and I was dying.
Yeah, but so we have a bread girl coming. I think we're doing like spin the wheel for special discounts or freebies. So lots of really fun things this Friday. And then Saturday, of course, is Valentine's Day. So I'm sure we'll be doing something else in the store as well. Just to make people feel special and feel the love. The world is crappy, so why not just be happy, get out.
What when you because it's funny because Lucy's I was talking about we're trying to think about new like more in-store events and like
Yeah.
what does a pop-up for or I can't even talk right now, but for the people coming in and doing, essentially pop-up shops, but like, how do you do those events with the vendors coming in? Do they bring a bunch of extra stuff and you sell it or you pre-buying the inventory? Because one of my reps turned around, she goes, oh, we do trunk shows, but the vendor doesn't bring anything. I'm like, oh, because old school trunk shows, the vendors used to bring tons of stuff. And if whatever you sold, it was the normal split, but I guess it doesn't happen like that anymore. Like I'm showing
Yeah.
my age, but what does
So
shows look like?
Yeah, so for pop-up vendors, I really try to showcase things that we have in the store. And I try to showcase as much local, but we've had like Poppy's Popcorn, we've had Savannah Bee. My rep for Stonewall Kitchen is hands down phenomenal. So she comes and does pop-ups with us. We're working with Patchology. We've had Patty Wax come. So lots of different things. But for like Cupid Shuffle, I really try to support as much local. And plus, if we've been suffering, I know the other businesses, the small makers have been suffering too. So I really like to share the love. So what they do is if it's a product that I have in my store and I sell, I'll just order a bunch of it. But I find it's very helpful and I find it very important that they come and they talk to the customer and that the customer can see their face and they can meet them and talk to them and learn more about them besides just a product on my shelf. I want them to meet the maker.
Hmm.
Um, and stuff like that. So that's really important for me. And like I said, we've had some bigger name companies come that are big sellers for us, but I want them to come in as well so that people can talk to them and meet them. And, it's just not a product on our shelves. These are actually people and companies behind them. So, and you got to remember a lot of these bigger companies too. I can't speak for all of them, but some of these companies, they once started off small too, like as little makers, and they just grew and grew and grew, and now a lot of them are national brands. So it's just interesting to hear their story, and I like for my customers to hear and see the product too.
Well, I love also that it's a different person talking about the product other than yourself and the rest of the team, because they also, I'm sure, can bring a ton of wealth and other ideas on how to serve something or how, whatnot than what they hear usually. But I love that having this store again. For those of you guys listening, this is another reason why to lean into your reps because they are the people that will come and help you sell the product. It's only going to help them as well. But this is again one of the things like we all utilize fair, but this is another reason why to lean into your reps because the reps are going to be the ones helping you do these events.
Yeah, and it's also somebody besides me, it can be redundant, like me telling them the same spiel over, but if they see the person, they meet it's just
And did they do tastings and everything with that?
yeah. Yes. Like I said, we have other products too, but I really like for the food for those people to come in. Like our rep, I said for Stonewall Kitchen, Heidi, hands down, truly amazing. And some reps will know more about products than others, and it's really good to have a very sales rep who knows their product and they're very passionate about it too because it will show if you have someone who just like selling to me like if you have someone who's just going to stand behind the counter and just stand there that's not good
Yeah.
you have to have someone who can come in who's passionate who's going to talk maybe there's someone who's a little bit shy of coming up to the counter hey how are you come on over let's talk about this and let them taste the product
Yeah.
plus sometimes they'll serve things different in a way that I never thought of
Yeah.
it's delicious.
The idea of how people, salespeople or reps interact with people, it's true. It's like, we've all gone to the gift show and it's like my two biggest peeves are when you're in a showroom and it's playing no music whatsoever. Weird. Like it's super quiet and you're
It's
like,
dead silence.
are you open? And then
Yes.
the reps are all in conversation with themselves versus you have other reps you can see and people selling. It's like, hey, how are you? Come on in. I
Yeah.
mean, it's hard to have that kind of energy, but that's energy creates energy is what Fred Siegel used to say. And it's like you being excited. I know when I get excited and talk about something, I know other people get excited. It's the same way when it's at your store. It's like having someone that's super excited about the product and loves it, truly, truly loves it. It's not just like bullshitting you. It's like truly loves what they're selling and because it tastes amazing and here, taste this and taste that. It's like do you, for anybody that's listening that may be wondering, maybe not, but do you have to have permits to do tastings? Because I know at the shows, I didn't realize this. Some cities are cracking down, and you have to have different permits to be able to do tastings or give away something. Do you have to do anything like that for where you're at?
No, for what we're tasting, I mean, we're not cooking any meats and stuff like that in the store. Like I said, we do have our wine and beer license, so you do have to have a permit for that. So when we have our wine reps come in, we have a permit for that. But we're not cooking any like meats or anything like that. All of this, especially it's like jams and jellies, all of that is like it goes under oh my gosh, what is that rule? Like the canning law and stuff like that. So we're covered. Sanitation, we don't want people to get sick. And we know people have allergies. So most of the time, well, not most of the time, all the time when we're serving, we wear gloves, make sure things are cleaned. And then if something has like bacon or peanuts, especially, we always do mention before we hand it over to them, like there's bacon or do you have a peanut allergy? Because we don't want anybody to be surprised.
Yeah, that's a good point because I think that people forget about. I know the meat thing, but the peanut thing is a huge one. Like
Yeah.
I for the first time I was on a flight coming back from I don't know if I was coming back from Dallas, I think, and it was like we're not going to be serving anything on this flight because there's someone with a peanut allergy. Like the people
Yeah.
on the plane, you'd think they would have said like, you're on an 18-hour flight, you're not getting anything. I was like, it's an hour and a half flight. Everybody like relax. People are pissed, but it's understand because as soon as you open that up, it's
Yes.
airborne now. And if you really have that kind of allergy, those are often deadly. That
Yeah,
so
the biggest one we have is gluten. A lot of people do have the gluten allergies, and we try to be respectful of that. And we've actually have brought in a lot more items that are gluten free. We always taste it too, and the majority of the items you would never know that it's gluten free. I mean, they're that great of a product. And then we also get asked a lot in the store if we have any gluten free items, and I'm able to point those items out and show them. So I
well,
think a lot of
I,
companies are going that route.
that's good because I'm assuming that everything I mean, everything that I just interviewed Tori from the Doll farmhouse, and she's like, I know everyone thinks tasting is like such a big thing and you have to do this whole big thing, but she goes, I'll mix up cocktails with, I'll make bourbon cocktails and I'll show the mixer on the desk. This is what we're serving. And if you want to buy a bottle, I just do a little bar cart right next to the cash register. It's super easy. It's not a big thing. So it doesn't have to be, tastings don't have to be a big to do. But I would say when they are a big to do, though, the energy that creates in the store and the excitement and like where people are walking around talking or snacking on something, I love that about stores when they do that because it just creates like this energy.
I mean, we're not doing samplings every day, every weekend, because it wouldn't make it special. But another factor is this is also a really big cost for us involved too. I don't think a lot of people know that we're in it. We are a business, so we are in it to make money, but we want people to try it. We want them to like it. But like I said, we holidays are different. We do a lot of samplings, but this is an expense for us personally too. During the holidays, we did a biscuit bar. And you did not want me to be making those biscuits. We got Biscuitville, who makes amazing Southern biscuits, but we went and we pre-ordered many little biscuits, and we had a jam bar set up,
Wow.
and they got a little half of a biscuit, and then they got to put whatever jam they wanted to taste on the biscuit, and it was our biscuit bar, and it was a great way for them to taste the jellies and how they would be served, and if they needed to know other ways to use the jellies with cheeses and stuff, we were able to educate and tell them.
So because now I'm sure everyone's like, not how much that cost, but the like, did you see turns in your inventory from this? I mean, was it worth the investment of, I mean, because baking, having a company come in and bake biscuits, that obviously is an investment. Did you see the turn in numbers?
Most of the people who were able to taste it would take a jar or two, depending on, whichever jam they liked.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, so we're able to sell and keep, because jams, thank heavens, have a long expiration shelf life on them, but there are some other items that just don't. So we want to be able to turn that merchandise, and keep it moving and keep our merchandise fresh. We don't want stagnant old merchandise on the floor, especially food.
So bummed because I brought in foods to Lucy's that was like, I got all inspired by you. And then they're a restaurant and it's like, why aren't we doing foods and cookbooks and things like, like inspired by the dishes that we have at the restaurant? So we did have an okay sell through, but damn, the expiration dates. Like we did a lot of the Bear Food brands. I don't know if you brought that
Oh,
in.
we sell bear food. Mac is made
Amazing.
out of Matthews, North Carolina, right down the road. Mac.
Amazing. But we should have had somebody testing it more often than we did, which was disappointing, but it's a restaurant again, and there's no one on the sales floor. It's literally like a restaurant with gift stores. But yeah, the turn of all of my expiration dates is happening right now. And I'm just like, oh my God. What do you do when your
Bundle it.
stuff expires?
But when things are close to expiration, bundle it, do samplings. And there was one time I overbought some popcorn way too much. We sold a lot of it, but I didn't know the expiration date was, and the expiration on popcorn is pretty long, just not like 2 years like jelly. And right before it ended up expiring, you know what I did? I went down to the schools and I stapled my business card with my information for my social media and everything, and I donated to every person that worked at the school, all the way from the principal to the teachers to the bus drivers to the cafeteria people.
That's
You cannot forget those cafeteria or those bus drivers, the janitors, because they work equally as hard. They might not have the most beautiful job, but they are special people. I stapled my business card and I said, thank you for all that you do. And I donated it because I didn't want to lose it. I didn't want that to expire and sit on my shelf. I wanted somebody to be happy and enjoy it. And in return, it might bring somebody into my store if they liked it.
that's a great.
During this ice storm, I had I had probably about 20 bags of holiday popcorn. And the workers who clear the roads and scrape, they're probably the least appreciated out of
I love
everyone. So
that.
when I finally was able to get out, I took those popcorns and I stapled my card and I said, thank you for everything that you do. And my husband and I drove it down there and we set up like a little popcorn bar for them and we donated that popcorn to them. If they come back to my store, that's great. If not, they're still well deserved, deserving employees of our community and our town to enjoy a treat because they helped clear our roads so people could come down here.
That is amazing. Like I love these conversations with you. I'm telling you, like it's like I again, like I think you have a lot of things that you do that a lot of people want to do, and there's so many questions, and this is why I love these conversations and retailers that are so willing to give up this information because I think that there's a lot of like, well, I don't know. And then there's somebody that's like, here, this is how we do it. And there's
And
no,
I don't go around and like post it on social media because I'm not trying to glorify, like, look what you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you take care of people who come in and take care of you.
yep,
And I think that's really what it's all about. And like I said, going back in a world where they can go anywhere, because we are competing with the big box stores. We're competing with the Walmarts and the Targets. Too, we're also competing with other businesses on our street. But at the same time, like we want to take care of our community because our community will hopefully come back and take care of us and shop small.
I love that. I mean, it's, what is the phrase? I can't even think what the phrase is, but it's basically like you giving is what comes back to you. And
It's
I
cool.
think that that's huge because that's in like so incredibly important in communities and as well as retailers that are within communities that people are in and out every day, as well as your neighbors that are on the street, et cetera. I have to ask you because now that you finished the show, and like I said, I was like stalking your Instagram page. Tell me about how you attacked the shows coming off of holiday. Do you go through your reports and see what did well, what didn't well? Like, do you map out what you're going to do? Do you have a plan other than the obvious holidays that are coming up? Like, tell us a little bit how you attack the gift shows.
Yeah, so I'm probably not the best person to take advice from with certain things because I feel like my brain is just, I'm a business owner and my brain is everywhere. But my mom and sister and I, kind of while we're in the Christmas, like thick of Christmas, we're kind of looking around of like, okay, what's going really well? Like what is flying out the shelves and what's kind of stagnant? Like what is just kind of, not selling because we don't want to get again like eventually it will sell but if it's just slow moving or if it's too hard for like the packaging is too hard for someone to understand and you have to sit there and waste a lot of time explaining how to use it
God, thank you for saying that.
it's just too complicated.
Yeah,
Like things need to be easy where they can visualize it in their home as a gift. They should pick it up and be like, "Oh my gosh, I know exactly who I'm going to give this to," or "Oh my gosh, I need to keep this for myself."
yeah.
So we kind of talk about those things. We kind of make a list. And then right before we went to market, I believe, our downtown businesses, we have like a private little meeting and we hash out all of our upcoming like downtown events that we're having. And then we take that information, my mom, sister, and I, and then we also talk about like what other events, what other holidays are we going to do? And then we kind of say, okay, these are the kind of things we're looking for or we want to try to find. So when we go to market, but you know just as well as I do, when you go to market though, sometimes that can go out the window because you don't know what new things are out there or what's really going to be trending. And I have to tell you, I'm one of those people, something can be really trending, but if you don't know your customer and you don't know your surroundings, it just isn't going to flow for me.
Thank you.
Something can be so trendy and people love it, but if it just won't sell in my area.
Yeah.
So, and then also you have to look at price point on things too these days. You have to, there's a lot of different factors that you have to take into consideration. And you might love it at market, but if the price is so crazy, even just $2 or $3, it could be something small, but it might not be worth that price once you have to put it on your shop floor.
Yeah. Did you have and then I want to still ask you more about the market, but did you have a lot of pushback or problems with the tariff increases?
From a standpoint of my customers or
Because some vendors didn't like, is it Kayla Lau,
Callaloo?
opted not to extend those tariff costs to the customer. Some people, some showrooms were like, the first round didn't like, I think that they gave some, like, increased some of it. They didn't increase the total amount, whatever country it was coming from. But obviously it increased the product, the cost of products. But did you have much pushback from your customers? Did you increase it a lot? Did you not increase it and just kept in the cost? I think we talked
So
about
last year, I really didn't get a lot of pushback. I think our community is very strong and wants to shop and support local. Like I said, last year when I don't watch the news that much, but I pay very much attention. I mean, it affects my livelihood, my business. So I think you have to pay attention, without getting political or anything like that. But the minute I heard about tariffs before they were even going to hit, I would tell people, ship it now. Ship it to me now, and I would store it in my warehouse.
Okay.
Yes, and I was able to get it. I was able to beat a lot of that things. There were obviously some things I wasn't able to get around, but I didn't feel like it affected me this past year as much. And I really didn't get too many pushbacks. I might have heard like one or two from somebody, but to be honest, those aren't my normal people, and I don't want to disregard how they felt coming to the store. It wasn't like they were mean or mad, but they were like, oh, I can tell the prices, but in reality, the price hadn't even gone up on that item yet. That was just really the price. You can't make everybody happy, but this go around in January, I knew I was going to be walking into a different playing field.
Yeah.
So I was mentally trying to prepare myself. What I did find, and it's a mental thing too. Some of the companies already included the tariff or the surcharges or whatever they were doing in the prices. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things like, oh, that's the price. So, whereas some companies, they're like, well, there's going to be an additional 10 or 15%. And like I said, it's a mental game. That kind of makes you stop and say, okay, do, an extra 10 or 15%. But when,
Sort
companies go
of.
ahead and put it in, you
Yeah.
kind of know what you're already getting.
Well, some customers, and I don't even remember who it was, from when I was shopping, it would have the price was whited out. And it was like, what is the cost? We're not sure of it yet. I'm like, what?
Oh no, I move
How
on.
do you,
I
how do
can't
you
play that
work?
game. You know what, as a business owner for them on their side, that's poor. To me, that's poor. They should know. You
Yeah.
should know what your cost is, especially before, and it makes them look bad before you go and put it out on the floor because I'm at the end of the day, I'm their customer.
Well, I don't
I,
know if they do know because that's, because it changes, but like Sullivan's that went out of business and
yeah, or
Transpac,
Transact.
they went out of business because they couldn't even get their samples out of customs or out of the country. So it was like I mean, they didn't know how much it was going to be. So it's like I think depending on whatever the number is, it doesn't seem as like it's going around. But I will say this, in listening to everyone talk about how strong the sales were at the gift shows, I don't think it affected everybody like they thought it was going to, which was a great sign. I just wondered if you had, because I had some pushback in the restaurant, and it was, one of them was Capri Blue. And I'm like, I don't think Capri Blue went up. So I think it was the same. I'm getting feedback from the stores, but I think it was the same thing where it was customers that don't usually buy it
And
or
maybe they're not familiar with the brand.
and thought it was expensive. But I did have a couple people with a couple brands that they knew it was more than the year before. But I also took them they were only doing Keystone. I'm like, we're not doing Keystone. Like, we're like, no. Like, so I think that it was kind of a mixed bag. And I think people thought it was tariffs and it was like a mix of maybe a little tariffs. But I feel like it wasn't as bad as like everybody thought it was going to be.
There were a few items I saw that were probably a little bit, I think you just have to know the market. You have to be able to shop around. Like I said, there was a few things that I noticed and I've said, I think I just have to move on from the item. I just have to break up with that item for a little bit. Now, if it was a huge seller for me, it would definitely make me rethink. But, if it was just an item like a soap dish that would normally, it probably went up an extra $3. But is someone going to buy a soap dish in here for me for like $18? Probably not. So, because once even as though it's $3 or $4, you got to add shipping and all the other stuff onto it as well. So it was just time for me to maybe move on from that company with that product. But at market, there's so many other places and so many things, my customers aren't going to know. I wouldn't know. So it's just really being smart and being able to look around and shop around. And I hate to say this, but there's a lot of companies that sell the exact same thing. I mean, so
I like that.
you might find it in one place for one price, and then if you know market and you're willing to shop and you're willing to get into the thick of things and deep, because just sometimes I found the best things that are not in the prettiest showrooms.
Thank you.
Sometimes the prettiest showrooms, they draw you in. Don't get me wrong. They will draw you in, okay? But sometimes it's the ones that are not the prettiest where you literally have, I mean, I tell people I search high and low to find things that are different. You find some of the best things and sometimes the better pricing.
Thank
Um,
you.
you
It's,
know,
and I had said this, there's a showroom that's in Vegas that I know, I mean, all of us buyers, we're a little bit snotty and we want ever to be like, we want to go to the pretty showrooms, but you are exactly what I used to do. How you approach it is that my old boss used to make us go into every single showroom when when LA was like the place to shop. And even the ones where I'm like, no, there's nothing there for us. He says, oh, really? There's nothing for us. We're going to go in and find. And it was always where we fought. I always call it the pet rock, where we'd find the pet rock because it's so it's so competitive. And Fred Siegel was so competitive. It was not just you're on the same block, you're under the same roof. Like you all had the same address. And that kind of competition makes you a little crazy because it's like you literally would get to the show and be running. And a lot of people, my old boss knew that would walk by some of these showrooms. And you're right. Some of these showrooms that may not be the prettiest and may not be the beautiful creative co-op or the mud pies have a lot of the same kind of style item because let's face it, it's all coming from the same factories in China. But,
yeah.
And it was like they're drastically different price. And it's like you really have to go and really do your due diligence. And if you can spend extra time at the show to tack on that extra day to walk into some of these places that you would normally not go. One of them is that when I started to stay in Vegas, it's like I found this line. It's like they do regional stuff. And it's super cute illustration of whatever the state is. The
I
bags
saw
were like,
that. We carry those.
oh my God, the price of
Yes.
and
It
the
was
duffel. And I was like, and no one has gone into that showroom. So again, this time I went and I
yeah.
finally had a place to write it for. We
The
wrote,
little pouches and the
yes,
little duffel. Yes, and they're great.
yes. And it's like, that is a perfect case in point of one of those items where it's like that stupid thing, one, is going to have such a good profit margin. And no one's going to have it. That was like the hero of the show. That still is my favorite item. And I'm so glad you
All
wrote.
have that one item that we go home, we talk about, and we're like, wow, wow.
What
You
was
know,
the show?
what'd you say?
What was yours this show?
I had several. I will tell you, I went into this market really, really excited, very excited. And for me, though, I really had to rethink things. And like I said, I really had to dig deep because there were some things that just weren't jumping out at me like right away. And I know a lot of people, they go into market, and I wish I could be that person. They know what their theme is going to be. They know what their colors are. They know all this, and I want to be that person. But when I go to market, there's so much inspiration and so many different new styles and what's trending. And somehow that just goes out the drain for me.
Yeah.
And, it makes me rethink everything. And I kind of just go with it. And you kind of start, when you go into different showrooms, you kind of get to see what's trending. You start to see patterns that are repeating themselves. But once again, you have to know your customer. I
You-
mean, I fell in love with this past one, all the pastels, and there was like peachy and like rose color. I mean, I loved it. But just because I love it, my customer won't buy that. not saying that I won't have a few, but my customer, they don't want to start all over again. They want to pick up pieces that they can add to their collection already. These pinks and rosy colors, it's not going to go with the traditional red and green. It's just two different patterns. So, like I said, I would have a few people that would pick it up. But if I was to go that deep into that theme, my people, my regulars who are very into who already have their whole setting, they're just not going to be able to go for that.
That's really, I never even thought about that as a seasoned buyer. And I never even thought about that when you roll out, when these lines roll out, super cute, bright, like I love the bright stuff because that's what I have as original from my grandmother's. But I never even thought about that when you are buying and they have all these new things and it may be completely different than what you usually do, is that you are now literally closing the door to your customers that have built their collections based on what you've been selling and they have a certain style. And it's not like they're going to completely change their decor
Mhm.
around this brand new style of holiday. That is like, wow, thank you for that. Because I didn't even
They still want things. They want to add onto pieces. And like I have a very, people are like, who's your customer? Well, it's so broad. I mean, I have like moms who bring their little girls in here because I have a kids corner, but I have teenagers. I have people my age. I have my mother's age. I have grandmas. I have such a wide variety of ages. But you do have to remember who is the majority of your clientele. It's who are decorating. It's people who are my age or my mom's or a little bit older, but they're wanting to add and they're wanting to get different things or colors that are like neutrals, like golds or silver. That will go with pinks or reds. But you just have to know who your customer is because like I said, at the end of the day, my customer personally is not going to want to start from the very beginning. If you're 60 years old and you've been doing reds and greens, unless you're just really gung-ho and you love that those you're not going to take all that and pass it down or take it to Goodwill. You're going to want to add to it.
Yeah, that's me. I mean, it's mine is all brights from my grandmother's, and I've added in Creative Co-op, the bright stuff. I've added in old school. Two's Company did a big sequined, bright colored. I think it was like all of it was like the circus themes, but they had these huge like oversized sequined
Yeah.
ornaments that I have those. I mean, and it's always been that bright stuff to add to my grandmother's original and they're all like in hot colors, turquoise, pink.
I know what you're talking. Yeah.
And I never thought about that. That's oh my God.
We always strive when, like I said, when we go to market, when you say to circle back around, what's your game plan? We always try to strive to find new and different. We want that because we want to keep it fresh and exciting and we want them to keep coming back every year. But like I said, at the end of the day, you have to kind of like, we still like to play around with the traditional, but then we'll add in, a wild card of something that will still flow, but it's just very different. So
So
yeah.
when you did January show, you do all your holiday decor in January, or do you do some of it or
Yeah,
oh,
we do probably of our holiday and fall, we do probably about 95%
damn.
of that. I mean, we hit the ground running. I feel like this year I wanted to chop off my feet. I mean,
Well,
it
I
got to
was like,
I told
it was impressive watching you, I'll admit. Like it was impressive.
we had appointments starting some mornings at 7 a.m. We were there at 7 in the morning. I made sure I got my coffee, and then sometimes we were there till 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And I made sure I had appointments with the bigger companies
Yeah.
because once you go in there, if you just show up, they can't see you. So I had made my appointments prior. And then there's like some other reps who I love. They probably get annoyed by me. But if it's just like the beauty products and stuff like that, they want to make appointments. But my whole thing is that I don't know where the wind is going to take me. I could be on floor 14 and be walking and heading towards them. And then all of a sudden something stops me dead in my tracks. And I want to go in there and I want to see it right then and there. Because if I don't, I might not remember to see it again.
Yeah.
So I like to have like my holiday decor appointments because that's where I get most of it. But then when it comes to like the little gifty things, I know where to find a lot of those. But I don't really want to make too many appointments because I like I like to just wander up and down the halls and just to go and things. And my mom and I sometimes will split up and we'll divide and conquer. And we will call each other and be like, oh my God, you have to come in here. Like you just have meet me on this floor. And when you get those phone calls, you stop and you listen to your mom. I don't care how old you are, you got to stop and listen to your mom.
Well, I love that you guys do the show together to bounce things off. Like it was so fun this show to do the show with Lucia, she's one of the owners of Lucy's, and just to have somebody to bounce ideas off of. Cause I'm so used to when I was doing buying for other stores, it was just me and you get caught up in the moment and this is so cute and I love this. And there's that voice of reason. Sometimes you need a second person to be like I ended up, like I said to Lucia this time, I'm like the mean Michelle because I'm not letting you buy everything you want. Because she'd say something, she's like, I love this, and I'm like, okay, we love it. Where's it going to go? What is this going to go with? And I mean, like, I love it too, but
That's exactly how my mother and I are.
which is so good to have that. I mean, not everyone can do that, but it is helpful. I will say that this show, and I don't know, maybe do you give delivery windows to everything as you're going along, or do you say, hold on, let me figure out the delivery windows later? Are you giving delivery windows right away?
Most of the time I'm giving him right away. My mother this time was like, remember, you're going to have a ton of stuff arriving at this time. Like today, for instance, I think these drivers were trying to kill me today because with the snow and everything, nothing's been delivered. It's been delayed. Today, I had 10 boxes from UPS. I had probably 12 boxes from FedEx. And while FedEx was still here in my driveway, I had a transfer truck come.
Oof.
And I was like, I mean, it's brutal because I also get really overwhelmed. So when I see all these boxes, I'm like, I got to open up everything. And in the meantime, I also have customers. So I try to separate a few things, but at the same time, like when you're doing like our next thing, once Valentine's is over, Easter is here. So we got to have like all this. And now I did have some stuff that I bought last year because I knew this was going to happen. Like in July, I bought some spring. So stuff would already be here. But, when you need it now. Because in order to do that whole concept of your table and everything, and just sometimes it's that one item that makes the whole thing flow.
Yeah.
And if it's missing, it's gonna, at least for me, it throws it all off.
Yeah. It's funny because I go through where I have appointments. Last year we had appointments and we were so back to back to back appointments. We never had time to roam anywhere else. So
Yep.
it was great, but the reps, so the reps got, here's your orders. There was nothing else. This year it was like, we're adding on a couple days. We have our appointments, but we need to go out and see other and new things.
Mm-hmm.
And because, I mean, I'm not kidding you, this is my file of orders. It's 3 stores, but we wrote a lot. And what I do now, and I tell my reps, it makes them crazy, but it's like, just put everything in HFC, which is holding pattern for for market time, or that it comes in as incomplete. Please hold on to them. I'll give everything delivery windows, and I go out and I'll lay it all out so I can see the weight of how much is coming in, both in paper as well as numbers, as well as products. So I'll take it and we break it down into delivery windows and then spread it out. And like anything that I know for sure we're taking, I'll give delivery windows. But it's once you start after your reps and you start roaming the halls and writing extra things and throwing in all this other extra stuff that you love, it starts to add up. And it's things coming in as ASAP, which I don't know how people do. I had a customer that everything came in ASAP and it was like, where is all this going? Like what, like I like to sprinkle it around. So there's always something new rolling in.
I think the problem too with that is recently, before all this ice, when I got back, we were getting in, no joke, Halloween and Christmas already. And it's that for me though, I have to go ahead and take it because it might be items that if I don't take it now, I won't get it.
Yeah.
So that's another thing where I think for the first 2 days I got back, it was so frustrating because all I was opening was Christmas and Halloween, and it got very frustrating because I was like, I want to see something different. I need something that I need now. I don't, but I was just pricing it so then I can box. You also have a window of when you can file a claim if it's damaged.
Yeah.
So I have to put it up, but I was like, I had to take it. I think COVID and then the tariffs caused a lot of that problem. Like if you don't go ahead and take it, you're just not going to get it. They're going to move on and give it to
I'm the
somebody else.
weirdo that's like, I'm good. Like mud pie. It's like they don't like having cancellation dates. I'm like, I have to because the PO remaining open for so long, they need to close it out at the end of the day, at the end of whatever. But it's like having Easter coming in December and having sitting on that, I'm like, I have a hard time with that. Like just financially, it's not even my money, but with my client, it's like I don't so
Hard.
I'm
It's
the one
hard.
that's like, okay, if I don't get it, then we don't get it. Like I try not to get too attached to something. And I guess if there was something I was that attached to, I would extend it. But my poor reps are like, everything has a cancellation and we have a no back order. And everyone's like, what? I'm like, I know we may be missing out on things, but the note, I had companies sending us Christmas, like during COVID, Christmas, we were getting Christmas sent to us that was supposed to be for Christmas 2020. I was arriving in January, the first week of January 2021. I'm like, what? Like Christmas is over. And like, and so ever since then, I've come up with like very stringent rules, which people aren't fans of. But I'm like, I'm sorry.
I 100% agree, and understand where you come from. But for me though, if I don't take it, then
Ah,
I won't get it. But also when it comes around for Christmas near that time, because a lot of things ship in June and July, and then that's when you really feel broke because everything's just like coming
yeah.
at once. I'm like, but I already have this and I've already paid for it. So, sometimes
People that do it, I think it's so smart. Rogers Gardens does it here in or there in California. There's a lot of people. I think Cursive takes their ornaments. I think it's super smart. It's not my money, so I have a hard time with that decision. I'm like, we're gonna have to. So tell me now, okay, Valentine's is this weekend. Easter is next up. So
yeah.
you roll them out simultaneously, or do they one replaces the other?
So this year for our Valentine's collection, we obviously do have some Valentine's themed items, but I really wanted to make sure that I focused on things, even though they were red or pink, they could still tie into spring and Easter. I didn't want to focus too much on Valentine's. We obviously have like Jelly Cat Valentines and a few chocolate Valentines, stuff like that. But everything else was more color coded like reds or pinks to make it like
It's a
themed. Yes, but if it didn't sell for Valentine's, it's okay because it'll move on and it'll be more pastels and bright for spring. So once Valentine's is done, we will move on to spring. Easter for me is more spring. Of course, in our kids' corner, we do more like Easter basket stuff and like that. But for Easter, it's more, we have a lot of bunnies, but I try to focus more on like everyday bunnies because we have people who like bunnies. And bunnies are different than Easter bunnies.
yeah.
They have two different looks. Easter bunnies you can only put out during Easter. Everyday bunnies, you can tie them in and put a red bow around their neck for Christmas and stuff. So we try to do more like spring like for Easter. And then of course we sell geometry, so we get geometry Easter like towels, stuff like that, and we know that will sell. But when it comes to like our front table, it's much more springy. And I'm gonna tell you what, us North Carolinians are ready for it.
I bet. I mean, I think about like everybody sitting in snow and like, the daffodils are just starting to push through and like everyone's so ready. Is it like, cause here it's like, I'm still getting used to this, is that seasonal depression where it's not only cold, it's gray and it's,
Yes, it was like that for a few days. And it was a Friday. We had been open for like 3 days and no one was down here. And you could just tell a lot of the shop owners and things I was reading online. It was like I said, it wasn't just here. You could just feel it through like Instagram posts. And I will want to say, yes, it is so hard, but I really don't want to do the woe is me card because at the end of the day, this is my profession. This is my business. This is what I chose to do. So, there's highs and there are lows. The majority of the people will only see you on your highs.
mm,
Like I said, everybody wants to be in business. So I try not to go on that woe is me card. And I could kind of feel, people were open, but they were just feeling really down. And it was a Friday and they were supposed to call for more snow on Saturday. And I saw so many people on that Friday. They were like, if we knew if we were going to get out and we were going to wreck our car, today was going to be the day us trying because they were going to get stuck in their houses again on Saturday.
yeah.
So, but it's just how you put in things in perspective. It's, if like I said, if you're having a bad day and you're watching my Instagram stories, it may be cold and gray and gross out there, but I'm going to make you, if you tune into my little world, I'm going to make it happy for you. I'm going to show you the greens. I'm going to show you the fun things, you know. Like I said, it is my business and I want to show people things that they can purchase, but let's be intentional too. Like you're gonna be snowed in. Let me show you these paint color sets that, you can be sitting at home and doing too. And it's gonna make you happy. So instead of dwelling about how you're not gonna be out of your house for 2 days, let me show you all the fun things that you could be using while you're snowed in. So
Energy creates energy. Like the happy energy, the good energy, just being, I think it's just being on and being positive. And, I know we're heading into this and like, I think it's, for like what I love the idea of like, if you are going to be snowed in, it's like, let's go and get some steps that are going to make us feel good when we're in the house. I want a yummy smelling candle. Let's go get some snacks or something that we can make. And before hopefully we lose the power.
I think
um,
the hard part was people were stuck in with their like kids have been out of school for 2 weeks.
wow.
Like there's been no school. And at the end of the day, these teachers are like remote learning. Let's get real. Ain't no kid is doing remote learning. So let me show you all the fun things. I think our stuffed animal line, we have some really cute stuffed animals in here. And I saw a huge increase because people just needed that emotional support animal.
Yeah.
You don't have to feed it, you don't have to take it outside in the cold. You can just snuggle with it.
What are some of the
So
lines that you're loving that are the stuffed animals? We all love Jellycat, but obviously that's kind of changed for some people. What are some of the lines that you love that other people could love as well?
Douglas, we've been carrying Douglas for 2 years. First of all, I will have to say my rep for Douglas is the most amazing person.
Mine
She's
too.
just hands down. I just want to hug her and squeeze her. But I found something out about Douglas, which I think I want to share with everybody. Douglas is also the stuffed animal line for the national park, so you're going to see such a wide range of animals. But when we were hit with Hurricane Helene, which was devastating. If you are not from this area, then you just wouldn't know, and you would not feel the effects. But I found out, which they did not advertise. My rep told me that the toy stores or any store that was in that area that sold Douglas that lost everything. She told me that they cleared their invoices and they replaced all their merchandise to them for free.
Wow, that is
If that does not make you love a company more, it's also a great line. They're really, compared to Jellycats, they're much cheaper, but it's a high quality stuffed animal as well. We also carry warmies, that's
so
for
cute.
comfort. And then we just picked up Mon Ami,
Cute.
which
I
I've
saw you
been,
when you saw it. Aren't
I've
they
been looking
cute?
at that line for, gosh, 4 years, and I finally pulled the trigger.
Aren't
And
they cute?
I have my own reasonings for wanting to get it. I have lots of different reasonings. I have lots of feelings and thoughts because people are going to say, I know my customer. If you're not familiar with Mona Me, they're going to be like, oh, they knocked off Jellycats because Jellycat people are very
Yes.
passionate and
Yes.
very strong. But come in and let me tell you about Mona Me because they're not a knockoff of Jellycat. I mean, let's get real. Everybody's knocking off everybody somehow,
Oh my God. Jellycat was the most number one knocked off thing I saw
I
from
mean,
I mean, the bashful bunny. Oh my God. I'm not even going to name drop, but I'm telling you, one brand, they are exactly, and they are so cute and they're made in the same factory, like the soft, like they are the bashful bunny. I was like, a lot of people knock them off. Monami is not one. I don't consider them.
No, I think Monami's been around like I said, I wanted to do my research on them. I did my history. I did everything and I went back and forth, but I pulled the trigger. The potato, we're getting in our first shipment in this week, actually, I think tomorrow. The potato, oh my God, I just could eat it literally and physically. Like it's just the cutest thing ever. I think I got French fries. And will I put it with Jellycat? No, I'm not going to display it next to Jellycat. Jellycat deserves its own thing, but they equally deserve their own product line. We have a great food section, and I got a lot of the food, so it might just be intermingled with the foods and stuff like that. So we also carry. Let's see, who else do we carry? Keychains are really trending. So the little stuffed animal keychains. We have a problem getting keychains from Jellycat, so we went a different route. And
Warmies,
when
keychains, Warmies little bags were so, and also do you write this one's Burkowski bears?
No, I feel like I grew up with that line.
You did?
I feel like I did, but at the same time, we're not a kids store. I have a kids corner, which I think is amazing. We go back and forth, but we're not a kids store, but I do like to have something. So there's so many stuffed animals that I could literally I could have bought so many from, and my mom's like, Megan, how many stuffed animal lines do you have? And then one of my favorite lines, they're not stuffed animals, but it is a kid's line, is My Lie. Are you familiar with them? They're the little mice.
Oh, mice.
Yes, it's a Danish company. We've been carrying them for 2 years, and they're they're just as expensive as jelly cats. My little girl loves them, and we're starting to get kind of a following on them.
Yeah.
So we went this year. We pulled the trigger and placed our largest order. Look at that doggy.
Fair.
We pulled the largest order with them this year. So
Do you do all the accessories, all the houses and all?
um, this year we pulled the trigger and did all that. And we got the clothes. They came out with a new book. And like I said, it just makes you happy. It even stops adults in their tracks and lets them look at them. Like I said, it's more of a higher end child's line, but I call it more of an heirloom piece. It's not something you buy everything. You buy one on a special occasion. And then, you kind of hold on to, every parent wants to hold on to things for their kids when they get older, and you get older and you're like, what am I going to do with this?
Thank you.
Those might are one of those things that you might just kind of put away and hold on to it.
Yeah, heirloom is a very good word for those because it's something that every year a parent can, continue to add on to the collection. Kind of how Barbie was back in the day.
Yes.
You have the house, you have the car, now you've got her kitchen.
Yes. Let me tell you, we got the fridges, and it's like I said, it's not a cheap line. The fridge is like $50.
It's the
So
cute. One of my accounts used to sell it, and it was like always so much fun to display it. She didn't go super deep in it, but I just remember the little mice and their outfits are so cute.
it's my favorite line in here. It's probably the one that drives me the craziest because everybody wants to touch them and play with them. So I'm constantly at the end of the day, tidying up these mice. So it's
What
going down a rabbit hole for sure, but
what were some of your favorite trends that you did see at the show?
Fruit was really heavy this year again.
Right?
Really, I think cherries
Yes.
were really big. And so that made me really happy. I mean, even fruit was trending for the holidays, and I loved it. Let's see what else. Bows were still trending. And I didn't know how bows would do last year. I thought bows were very like a certain age,
How
and
they
I hope older women, and I don't like say older women because that sounds like you're calling, but you get what I'm saying. Like people a little bit older than me, I didn't think they would get on the bow trend, and they like loved it.
Yeah.
And so bows were trending again. Um,
Did you write all those big bows that showed like I don't know what vendor that was because you were one of several people that showed that one wall that it was like seven or eight, like 10, 12 different bows in all different colors and fabrics. They look like they were kind of big and
they
puffy.
puffy. So we
Yeah.
had those last year in red. And we ordered other colors, but then the supplier couldn't get them back to us because they said with the tariffs and everything, they just weren't going to get them in time. So we only got the red, and we had them in two sizes, and they did very well for us. I can't remember, but I think we might be bringing those back again, maybe a different variation. I try not to bring too many of the same things because then it just gets stagnant
Yeah.
and it doesn't make it exciting. But um, yeah, lots of greenery. My fall, I feel like I hadn't found as much Halloween as I had in the past because we have our fall girlies and we have our Halloween girlies. Two
Mm.
different people. But the fall I bought, I absolutely love. I love it. So yeah, it'll be. I'm excited, and things are starting to. The thing is, things are starting to roll in, and then it gets me excited again. Like, oh my God, it's here, and I get to touch it, and all the things. So.
When are you, because I know we're coming in, we're over an hour now. Like, when are you finding time? When do you do your merchandising? Before hours, during hours, after? I know you can see some crazy hours.
Yeah, so at the same time, I'm a mom. I got my 3 and 5-year-old, so I still got to do that part and, make time for them. That sounds horrible. Like I got to make time for them. It's not like that, but I like to go home and cook dinner. I really like to do my merchandising when people aren't in here. I know that sounds horrible. I know some people are okay working, but I really like to focus my time on my customers. I don't want to get distracted, have to stop what I'm doing. And also, I think, and I don't mean this to sound horrible, but when I want it to be all out and I want it to be like a surprise, I want to make a statement.
The
If people
aha.
come, yeah, and if people start coming in and start touching it, and then I have to stop because I want them to be able to look at it. I don't want to be like, over here blocking the way. So I really like to do things. We're closed on Mondays. So most of the time I'll come in on Mondays. Unless it's like fall or Christmas, we're closed an extended time because there's just so much of it. But if it's, for Valentine's or Easter, I can usually do it in a day or two. So
Oh my God. I can't wait to see what Easter and spring looks like in your
I need
store.
someone like you though, because it's starting to get to a point where like it's a lot.
You know,
It is a lot, but I'm also very particular where I'm looking for my person, I'm putting it out there, but I have to find that person that is gonna be able to stage things how I like it because staging is in the eye of the beholder. People can see products and style it so many different ways, and it can also transform your store, make it look completely different than
yeah.
what people are used to, And I will say, we used to do some pop-up places, and people like, that's Go Girl because of the way how I would style things. And so it's just finding the right person. And you can't just put things on a shelf and expect it, oh, that's how it is. I mean, it's about setting a mood and a story and giving it a feel. So yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard sometimes.
It's I love asking that question because I always wonder. I personally like to do it before hours and after. It's hard. I'm not on the floor selling. I do when I'm there, even if I'm not working, actually technically working there, but it's hard because people it that same phrase, energy creates energy. Like Fred was always like, open your boxes on the floor, people, because that create chaos and something happening with people like, what's going on? What did you just get in? Is always where they gravitate to. And you're always like, oh my God.
Yes.
You're like, I
I'm
just
like you, and I'm like, this is causing me anxiety.
it's challenging. And it's like for most of the stores I'm in, we are doing it in the day. And like the restaurant, I just had a call with the restaurant today, and it's like they're in their high season. And it is a level of people in those stores that I have not, they were busy when I was there before. Now it's at a whole other level. And all the restaurant, the gifts are all surrounded by all the tables. And it's like people walking by and runners and busboys. And then here we are with merchandise. I'm already like, oh my God, maybe we can do this. I'm hoping we can do it at night because it's hard and it's somewhat disruptive, but people are drawn to that. And people always like, what are you doing? What are you opening? And you want to like sell something, honestly, open your boxes and start merchandising in the middle of the day. It's like it's a
I think
guaranteed sale.
and I myself included, but I think people are nosy and they want to be like, what are you doing? And and if they see a jelly cat box, heavens forbid, they open it before I do. And we're looking up the prices together on it because but no, it's fun and exciting, but for my anxiety and for my stress level, I really like to come in here by myself and do it because I don't want to seem like I'm ignoring anybody's needs or wants in the store. Um, so I like to take care of my people. So
Aha moment, though, was also my favorite. I used to love sending the owners away, like, you go home, I'm going to stay, or don't even come in this weekend if we're closed this weekend. I'm going to set it up, and then you can come in and see it as ta-da as your customers are. And that's always my favorite reaction.
yeah.
You come and see it because it's always like a ta-da moment.
And you did a good job.
Well, I don't know that. I don't know that until I see the owner's face. Sometimes there has been a few times where it's like, what happened? It's subjective. Like
It is.
display is subjective. And like you said, with the merchandising, I may show it one way, a person may show it a different way. It's subjective. But it's always the ta-da moment for your customers is always like the best.
Yes. And for me, though, my parents are always like, someone's going to come and knock that over. You can't put it like that. And I'm like, that is so pretty. It's so pretty there. You got to make sure you got to bring somebody in that can make sure that nothing's going to fall. So,
Well, thank you so much for
well,
spending.
I enjoyed it.
Love our chats. It's like I just love how like you are just so passionate and so excited about what you're doing that it makes all of us excited to hear what you're doing. And your the advice and the things that you tell our listeners are priceless. And it's like I am so grateful to you for sharing your expertise and your knowledge and your passion with all of us.
Well, I think if you're going to be in this world of retail, especially with everything going on and up and down, you just have to be passionate or you have to be crazy or you have to be both.
Cool.
Crazy passion because, every day is a different day, and you just don't know what you're going to get into. But it's about how you flip the switch and your mood and how you see things. So,
Well, thank you for being this
yes.
sunshine of my day because
Well,
I
thank you for inviting me. And so, if you're watching, please follow us on social media and let me know. Send me a message if you see this too.
tell everyone your socials just so everyone can follow.
So, we have like 10,000 of them because what I didn't mention is over the holidays, before I opened up, we had a broken link in our Instagram. So that's probably why you probably haven't seen my messages. So we're Go Girl
Oh,
Shop on Facebook. We're the Go Girl Shop on Instagram. And then our new backup Instagram, which I highly recommend everybody getting a backup Instagram, especially with what I've been going through. It's the Go Girl Shop underscore NC. So, because in 2020, my Facebook page got hacked. And now after this, and you can't contact any of them. So yeah, so I always say start now, get a backup Instagram and Facebook page and start telling people to start following just in case that happens, because if not, there's really no way you can get the word out if it all crashes and you
we'll,
will lose all those people.
we'll make sure to have all these. Will you email me the
I
new one
will.
so that we can have everything and we'll make sure we have links in the show notes. And as always, thank
Yeah.
you, my
Well,
friends.
stay warm, be safe, and bring some sunshine our way.
I will.